The Coach A Show is brought to you by Edmonton State Bank. Edmonton State Bank is committed to delivering exceptional products and services that exceed your expectations, like always speaking to a real person on the phone, quick local decision making, and having your community bank be an actual community member. Hello, Wolfpack Nation, and welcome to the Coach A Show. I'm your host, Tom Carter, voice of the Wolves, alongside Bill Alexander, known in the football community as Coach A, head coach of the Liberty Creek Wolves. And, Coach, it was just 2 weeks ago we sat here and we spoke about all the number of first-time events occurring in Wolfpack football. And I don't know what's up with year 2025. I'm a little afraid to go any further than what we're going to talk about the year. But after last week's game, we can add now a couple more to that list. And you went up to the Pleasant View to take on those Sycamore War Eagles. Last season, the War Eagles finished with a record of 6-6. They were 3-1 in their division, finished the state ranking of 26. Came in, 1-1? I think they beat
1-1, yeah, they were 1-1.
Montgomery Central?
Yes, sir. And they lost to Greenbrier 2 weeks ago. They had 5 touchdowns called back in that game.
Oh, I don't think I'd want to be on the other side of that one.
No, sir.
So, Coach, when we arrived there Friday to play the game, Mother Nature, she had other plans, didn't she? And then how did we arrive at the conclusion to move the game to Saturday, I think?
Yeah, so, when we got there, really, we watched the weather all Thursday and Friday, and it just looked like it was going to be okay. And then we got there and we got the kickoff, and it looked like the weather was just starting to form that we didn't see, and so we played about 6 minutes, and then it started lightning, and so we went inside, and it wasn't raining, but it was just an unbelievable lightning storm, and so we talked, and I said, look, I'm prepared to wait however long we need to wait. I don't want to lose the game. Our kids work 43 weeks a year. They get 9 weeks a year off to play 10 times. And so we feel like it's important to protect those 10 games. So I said, I don't want to lose a game, and I don't want to come back tomorrow. So we were prepared to wait. And so we waited about 45 minutes. And then our team character coach, Kevin Cook, is friends with Charlie Neese over at Channel 5. So we literally called him on the phone while he's in the Channel 5 newsroom and said, hey, what's this look like? He said, you're looking at about 3 to 4 hours of lightning delays with where you're at. And so I just went to him and I said, look, I think it's going to be like after midnight before we can kick off. What about tomorrow at 2:30? And they said yes.
Yeah, and what does a postponement like that do to the psyche of a team?
I don't know. I felt like our guys handled it really well. We went through when I went to go meet with the officials and with their head coach and athletic director to talk about moving the game. I told Coach Hamilton and Coach Dickerson to start working on a schedule for Saturday, and so they started a schedule. And then when we agreed to the 2:30 time, I went and met with them, and we made some adjustments to the schedule. And we brought our team in at 10:30 and went through kind of an abbreviated warm-up like we would normally do on a Friday and fed them. And, our guys had a lot of energy, and I felt like they dealt with that part of it really well.
What about field conditions when you started?
Yeah, their grass, they got really good grass, and it was super tall, maybe the tallest Bermuda I've ever been on. And so the field held up really well. It wasn't wet. There wasn't any mud. The field conditions were really pretty good. I don't know that it rained all that much. It just lightened like crazy.
Yeah, and then on safety first. I mean, not only from TSSAA standpoint, but from the school and your standpoint.
Well, what a lot of people don't know is I've been struck by lightning on a football field at practice, and so I don't mess with lightning. When it starts lightning, I'm coming in the house.
Well, I think I'm going to talk to you about buying a lottery ticket because I know they always correlate that to lightning one way or other. It seemed like penalties were prevalent right from the very start of this game.
Yeah, we had a lot of penalties, and some of them I think were just us still struggling as a young team, and it's something that's hurt us. And some of them, I might not have agreed with. I felt like maybe we had some calls that probably shouldn't have, or maybe a few missed calls. But that's just part of high school football. Those referees are out there doing the best job they can, and we had some penalties that I probably didn't like, but you can't do anything about them. You just got to play around them.
And what about the the set that they put out there. It was like an unusual backfield. It was like the quarterback was standing, the two backs were really right up against him. They never even got in a kind of a bent position.
Yeah.
They're just straight up.
Yeah, I was pleased. You know, we hadn't seen him getting a 3-back set like that with the quarterback, a full house backfield. But, you know, we do that some. And so our guys had, even though we hadn't prepped any for that all week, you know, they knew how to adjust to it and align to it. And they really didn't hurt us with that set at all. So that was really, I was very pleased with the way our defense handled that.
And we started out, we stopped them.
Mm-hmm.
We get the ball. It looked like Jeremy Warren may have got a hand on a punt.
Jeremiah Warren blocked the punt, blocked their first punt. That happened on Friday night, yes. So he blocked the punt on Friday night, which gave us really good field position.
And then from that first series, you can pull that rabbit out of the hat again there. There's a little trickery there.
Yeah, we just feel like we got to get some things going to help our offense out. So the hook and ladder is a good play. It's something that's a part of our offense, and he actually had that in the script this week. So we knew we were going to pull it out pretty early.
And then a couple of run plays, and then the big hitter pass down to JT.
Yep, JT, and then the lightning struck.
And here we go. Huh?
Yeah.
So then Hicks Hunter, I believe, was number 2 on their team, and he's a heck of an athlete.
Yeah, all-state running back, Cheatham County Player of the Year last year, and super proud of the way we played against him. I know he had some touchdowns on some short yardage runs, but he really just had he had one long run after our first touchdown, and other than that, we really did a good job balling him up for the most part.
Yeah, I think it was a 52-yarder right down the right side and took off. But from that, now we're knotted up at 7, and you're off to the half. And how did you feel at halftime about how things were going?
We felt pretty good defensively. We felt like we'd done a pretty good job other than the one play for balling up Hunter, and we were able to identify, what the issue was on that play, and we had fixed it for their next couple of drives. And, we're really just trying to figure out what do we got to do to score some points on offense. That was, just really struggling to try to move the ball consistently and put a full drive together. So that's most of what we spent halftime on.
Seemed like in the third and fourth quarter, it was more about in the trench football.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, especially on our side, we were, a lot in the trenches. Their side, as we started going into the fourth, I started seeing more pass plays out of them, and they were doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, their quarterback was phenomenal on Saturday. And I think, we had done such a good job bottling Hicks up that they went more to the pass. I don't know, other than when they direct snapped to him a couple of times and their quarterback got hurt, I don't know that they handed the ball to him hardly at all in the fourth quarter. It was almost all pass stuff in the fourth quarter. And, we went back and watched film, and there's one throw where Hayden Zimmerly just hits him right under the chin. He stands tall in the pocket, throws it right across the middle. Josiah Sanford has got a perfect drop as a linebacker. We got DB's conversion. It's almost like an NFL window that he fit that thing in. You just look at that and go, man, that was a big time throw. So he played super well.
He did. And they also, like you were saying, there are a couple of receivers there that were fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought
they did a good job catching the football.
They did. And was that something you saw was coming? You thought?
Yeah, we knew that their running game was important to them, and that Hicks Hunter had just had 2 phenomenal seasons as a sophomore and a junior. But we told our guys all week, Seven's a very efficient passer. He throws the ball on the money. He throws the deep ball very well. We didn't give up a deep ball all day, so that just kind of played into what we wanted to do. But yeah, we knew that he was a good passer going into the game.
War Eagles, fourth quarter. We're knotted up, 14, I believe, right? And here they come down there, in the closing minutes. They get it down the 30-yard line, if I remember.
Yeah.
And they run out of time, essentially, and say, hey, we got just enough for a field goal attempt.
Yep.
Was a heck of an attempt in high school. From, the ball resting on the 30.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big attempt. We had a couple of things in that drive. Grant had a 50-yard punt to pin them inside the 10 to start that drive, and that was huge because it gave them the length of the field to drive, and that's part of what made that field goal attempt so long. And then, when he missed it, and I can't tell where I'm standing if it's good or not, but our players on the field immediately knew, and so that was exciting, and, we knew we were going to overtime.
And so off to overtime we go, which gets us to another first because – We'll get to that. It wasn't just one overtime.
It was 2 overtimes. Yeah.
And talk a little bit about overtime, how it works in high school, and how you prepared the team for it.
Yeah, so both teams get the ball at the 10, and you get 4 downs to do what you want. You each get a possession. So very similar to college. You just start first and goal on the 10 instead of first and 10 at the 25. So, first overtime, we lost the coin toss because we would want to play defense first. We had to go on offense. We score, we kick the extra point, and then they score. So it's 21-20. I'm really expecting them to go for 2, and they don't. They kick the extra point. Well, since we lost the coin toss, we had the choice for the second overtime whether what we wanted first, what end we wanted to play. And so I chose defense, which is what you always want to do, I feel like. And, they scored on third or fourth down. I guess they scored on third down. And then their kid missed the extra point. So we know all we got to do is score and kick the extra point, and we win. And I think Grayson scored on a
That's right.
second down run. I think it was second
down run right up the middle.
Grayson, Jackson had a good run on first down, and then Grayson scored on second down, and Lucas was 4 for 4 and extra points. And we talk a lot about that as a staff. We've never in our program been able to just consistently kick 4 extra points in a game. We've really struggled with that through our history, and Lucas has been 100% all year, and so that was a difference in the football game.
It really was, and I think their kicker missed wide left, and it was kind of a nasty snap, kind of sort of a snap hook, and then Lucas lined up on that, and I think everybody's a little sweaty because you don't want to jinx him, right? Because he hadn't missed one.
Yeah.
And there it goes, and it wasn't his best kick of the year, but it sure was the prettiest.
It's just got to go through the uprights. That's all it's got to do.
It was his prettiest kick of the
absolutely.
year. Absolutely. So, what are your takeaways from this game, and what do you think these young men learned about themselves and as a team?
I think just dealing with adversity, dealing with a different schedule, dealing with the weather, dealing with having to come back on Saturday, and then just I think the grit and the desire to win. Our guys just they don't quit. They keep fighting. They kept fighting at East. When we were here, they kept fighting against Portland. There were times in the second half really where it felt like they had most of the momentum, and our guys kept fighting. And then I was excited for them. Man, they were just our guys were really excited about the win, and I think that's important. I think it's you need to celebrate those wins because winning a high school football game is hard. We talk about that all the time. People don't realize how hard it is to win a high school football game, and so that's a big accomplishment for those guys. And to play in double overtime, to play in the daytime, to do all those things, it was a good win for us.
So, Coach, what should we expect from the Tigers?
Yeah, Gordonsville's a very storied program. I remember I used to play against them in the early 90s, and this was before they got into their new school. And you go walking through their old school that was built pre-World War I, and they would have, the original shingles hanging up with all the graduates on it. So super cool place. The stadium sits right on top of the field. And the whole town comes out. It's truly a Friday Night Lights experience where just everybody loves Gordonsville football. Super well coached and very physical football team. The guys just play really, really hard because truly they really are playing for the whole town on Friday night because they're all there at the football game. So it'll be a great atmosphere, probably an atmosphere unlike any that we've truly experienced. A small town atmosphere since we've been here at Liberty Creek. But they're a wing T based offense, multiple on defense. They'll probably win their region. Good chance to go deep into the playoffs. So another really good football team, and we're going to have to play well to have an opportunity to win up there.
All right, Coach. So we'll go to Gordonsville and get us a win in 4 quarters. That's the plan.
That would be nice. Yes.
And what's your final thoughts on everything that's occurred in these first 3 games to get this team ready going into this stretch?
Well, it's what we planned for. It's we've played a couple of really good teams in the first to start the season. Sycamore is I think they got a chance to win the region. That was a really good win for us up there on the road in overtime, double overtime on a Saturday with all the things. I think we just got to keep working and trying to get better. Obviously, I think I counted up today. We got 11 guys, 11 of our 22 spots we got sophomores playing on a regular basis. And so, we're really young. And so, obviously, the more we play, the more mature we'll get, and hopefully, the fewer the mistakes we'll make. And, it's hard to think about. We're talking about this Friday night, but when we get to next Friday night with Whites Creek, we're halfway through the season already. So, I mean, the season just ticks by so fast once you get going. And we're already into week 4. And so, we just got to keep growing and learning and trying to get ready for November.
And, Coach, we couldn't do this without our sponsors. We want to thank Edmonton State, Edmonton Bank again for being the exclusive sponsor of the Coach A Show, a community bank that's always a community member. We want to thank Brian Holloway, Miles Catron, and the production team of the Coach A Show. Wolfpack Nation, go to your Liberty Creek app and come out and support our freshmen and our JV teams who will both be playing this week.
Yep.
And then we'll be back next Wednesday when we break down this week's game from the Coach A staff and the athletic staff here at Liberty Creek. And all Wolfpack Nation, have a safe and winning week.